अन्तरायतिमिरोपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्य वैभवम् तं नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः शान्तपावनमचिन्त्यवम्.
Okay, Shivaya Gurve Namaha, Namaskarams to everybody. As you all know, we've been talking about the Mahabharata for the past 6 weeks, and today all of you have the opportunity to showcase what you have learned from this course. And it is our great fortune that Sri Samagaru has graced us today and is here to listen to all of your presentations. So, Samagaru, మీరేమన్నాను చెప్పాలి.
చూడండి అమ్మా, ఇన్నాళ్ళు చేశారు 6 వారాలుగా అందరూ చేస్తున్నాను. ముందు కోర్స్ ఏంటి చెప్తున్నారు అనేది తెలిసిందే. ఇది చాలా వరకు ధృవజ్ఞానాలు ఉన్న వాళ్ళే ఉన్నారు అనుకుంటున్నాను. చాలా వరకు కొత్త వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళందరూ ఇంత సపోర్ట్ చేసినందుకు ముందు వాళ్ళందరికీ అభినందనలు. దీని 6 వారాలు వాళ్ళు సమయం దీనికి పెట్టినందుకు తగిన ఫలం పొందేరు అని అనుకుంటున్నాము. వాళ్ళు ఎంత నేర్చుకున్నారు ఏంటి అనేది ఇప్పుడు చూడబోతున్నాం. అందరికీ గురువు గారి అనుగ్రహం, శివానుగ్రహం కలగాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాను. స్టార్ట్ చేయండి.
ధన్యవాదాలు. Okay, let's start the presentations. First is Indivara SSV.
Yes. Shivaya Gurave Namaha. My name is Indivara. Now I will be talking about Veda Vyasa. As we all know, Vyasa is the writer of Mahabharata. We will be telling his life story. Vyasa Bhagavan was born in a Dvipa island. Hence, his original name was Krishna Dvaipayana. His father and mother were Parashara Maharshi and Satyavati respectively. Krishna Dvaipayana is called Vyasa because he had done the compilation of the 4 Vedas. He is considered to be an avatar of Lord Vishnu and is one among the Sapta Chiranjeevis. Vedavyasa had written the great epic Mahabharata, which is also called as Panchama Veda, and is very huge with over 1 lakh verses. Vyasa possessed divine insight, the ability to perceive the past, present, and future, which allowed him to shape the epic's events. Among these 1 lakh verses of Mahabharata, over 800 verses are considered as Vyasa Rahasya, which are very difficult to understand. It is said that while getting the Mahabharata written by Ganapati, who is writing it, Vyasa used to recite such verses to gain time to compose the next verses in the narration. Because before they agreed that Vyasa should continuously dictate the stanzas and not have a break, or else Ganapati would stop the dictation. It is said as Bharatam Panchamo Vedaha. Vyasa Bharatam is popularly known as Panchama Vedam with 1 lakh verses. Because if one cannot study the 4 Vedas, one can study Mahabharata as it has everything in the Vedas. Hence, it is called the Panchama Veda. Bharavatvacha Mahabharata Muchyate. The name Mahabharata is perfect because it is very deep and has a lot of content and volume. Veda Vyasa did dharma bodha and jnana bodha through Mahabharata. Then, yadi hasti tadanyatra yanne hasti natat kvachit. Whatever is found in it is found elsewhere, but what is not found in it does not exist anywhere. Because Vedavyasa had given the entire wisdom of Vedas and Upanishads through Akhyanam, Upakhyanam and Upadesham in Mahabharatam. Vyasa's works allowed people to understand the divine knowledge and can meet the limited perseverance and application of mortal beings. Veda Vyasa's Mahabharata remains profoundly timeless in its teachings of truth, righteousness, and liberations, and teaches about the importance and the order of Chaturvidha Purusharthas, the four goals of life: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. It includes many anecdotes, mortal stories, and has the characters which represent all the aspects of human nature, such as righteousness, stubbornness, deceit, paternal overindulgence, bhakti towards Guru and Bhagavan, etc. Vyasa's works and Mahabharata emphasize the importance of dharma, self realization, and bhakti. There are many granthas included in the Mahabharata. Like Bhishma's advice, Vidura Niti, Yaksha Prashna, and many more. It also includes the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It teaches about which teaches us about the Brahma Jnanam, Shiva, and also includes Shiva Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Shloka Rudram, and many more. Veda Vyasa has a very great role as a narrator. He is a very good observer and provides insights into the thoughts and motivations of characters. His narrative techniques include foreshadowing significant events that shape the epic's course, employing dialogues that reveal character depth, and philosophical insights incorporating multiple perspectives to present a balanced view of conflict. Vedavyasa played a crucial role in the story of Mahabharata, not only as a narrator but a character within itself. He was the cause of he was the cause of the birth of Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. He guided the Kauravas and Pandavas in many critical situations. His advice helped Pandavas in many contexts. He gave Pratismriti Vidya to Yudhishthira, who gave it to Arjuna to obtain Lord Shiva's grace and Pashupatastram. Vyasa provided Arjuna with critical insights during moments of doubt, reinforcing his purpose and duty as a warrior. Vyasa served as a guide to Dhritarashtra, helping him navigate his moral dilemmas and the consequences of his actions. Vyasa blessed Sanjaya with Divya Drishti, so Sanjaya can witness the Kurukshetra war when he was in Hastinapura to dictate to Dhritarashtra. Vedavyasa has contributed many things to spirituality. By compiling the Vedas, by writing the Mahabharata, Ashtadasha Puranas, and Upapuranas, Brahma Sutras, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Created with compiling the Vedas, authoring the epic Mahabharata, and composing numerous foundational texts of Hindu literature, Vyasa has profoundly shaped the spiritual framework of Hinduism. नमोऽस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः. Salutations, Vyasa, one with the great intellect, with eyes like the fully blossomed lotus, through whom the lamp of light is filled with oil of knowledge of Mahabharata. Dhanyavadalu.
Excellent presentation, Indivara. Does anybody have any questions for Indivara? No? Okay. All right, so the next participant is Sahitya.
Shivaya Gurve Namaha. My name is Sahitya and my topic is Bhishma. So, who is Bhishma? Bhishma isn't just any warrior. He was born as Devavrata and he was the son of Ganga and King Santanu. A student of gods, a celibate prince, and a symbol of moral complexity. He became a moral spine of Mahabharata. His birth. Bhishma wasn't any ordinary mortal. His birth was deeply divine, and understanding this is the key to understanding his role in Mahabharata. In his previous life, Bhishma was Dyav, one of the eight Vasus, who were cursed by Vashishta to be born on earth. The Vasus had attempted to steal Vashishta's divine cow, but Dyav was the main instigator. As a result, while the other seven were allowed to be released from the earthly life soon after birth, Dev alone had to live a full human life as part of his penance. At the same time, a powerful king who had gained access to the Brahmaloka through tapas was also cursed for a lapse in conduct and had to be reborn on earth. This king chose King Pratipa as his father, which meant he was born as King Santanu. To facilitate the Vasu's rebirth, goddess Ganga descended to earth and married Santanu. She agreed to bear all eight Vasus. After each birth, she immersed the first seven infants in Ganga, therefore releasing them from the curse. But when the eighth child, Dev, was born, Santanu stopped her and the child lived. This was Devavrata, later known as Bhishma, born divine, raised by Ganga herself, and destined for greatness. Bhishma was trained in all scriptures by Brihaspati, in warfare by Parasurama, showing that his life was guided by divine preparation for dharmic mission. His pratigya. One of the most defining moments of Bhishma's life was his terrible vow. When his father, Santanu, wished to marry Satyavati, her father demanded that her sons become the kings. To make his father happy, Devavrata not only renounced the throne but also took an oath of lifelong celibacy. This oath was so powerful that the gods themselves showered flowers and gave him the name Bhishma, meaning the one who takes a fearsome vow. Moving on to Amba's vow, but the same vow that Bhishma took led to his downfall. When Bhishma abducted Ambika, and Ambalika for his brother Vichitravirya's marriage, he didn't know that Amba was already in love with Selva. When he sent her back, Selva rejected her. Feeling humiliated, Amba blamed Bhishma and prayed to Shiva for revenge. She was later reborn as Shikhandi, born female, and later transformed into a man. Bhishma had vowed never to fight someone who was formerly female. This very vow allowed Arjuna to bring him down behind Shikhandi's shield. Therefore, Bhishma's role in the infamous game of dice is complex. As the eldest in the court, he was deeply bound to the throne. When Draupadi asked him about her dharma, the dharma was subtle and hard to define in such moments. Though he did not intervene strongly, Krishna later says that Bhishma had never sinned, showing that showing that Bhishma's inner dharma remained intact even if his silence was hard to accept. Sri Krishna Raibara. When Krishna arrived at Hastinapura as a peace messenger, Bhishma didn't hold back. I want to emphasize that this is one of the few moments where Bhishma, although bound by his loyalty, spoke so openly because he truly wanted to prevent war. He clearly warned everyone that Arjuna alone was capable of defeating the entire Kaurava army. This wasn't an exaggeration. Bhishma had seen Arjuna's strength firsthand and knew what was coming. Bhishma also directly called out Karna, saying that his constant boasting gave Duryodhana false confidence and that Karna lacked both dharma and true capability. He reminded the court of how Karna fled from the battlefield during the Virata war and failed in the Gandharva battle. He also pleaded with Dhritarashtra to stop listening to the wicked trio, that is Karna, Sekuni, and Dusasana, whose actions he warned would lead to destruction. Bhishma knew that if peace was still possible, it had to begin with truth and humility, not ego and blind loyalty. During the battle, even while fighting for the Kauravas, Bhishma followed the highest code of battle. He refused to attack women, the weak, and those who were formerly female. Despite being on the side of adharma, he never let go of his inner dharma. He fought like a blazing fire, killing over 10,000 soldiers a day, and shook both armies with his strength. On the fourth day of war. Before the fourth day, Duryodhana openly accused Bhishma of not fighting with his full strength, saying that he was going easy on the Pandavas. Stung by this accusation, Bhishma unleashed a terrifying display of power on the battlefield. Arjuna still struggled to fight back seriously, bound by his affection and reverence to his grandfather. Seeing this, Krishna lost his temper, jumped down from the chariot, and charged at Bhishma, not with a weapon but the reins in his hand. Bhishma welcomed the charge with a smile, ready to die at Krishna's hands, but Krishna held back. The ninth day of war. By the ninth day, Duryodhana, frustrated again, told Bhishma that perhaps it was time that he stepped aside so that Karna could lead. That day, Bhishma fought even more furiously. Once again, Krishna rushed towards Bhishma in divine anger, and this time Bhishma not just saw a charioteer, but he saw Narayana himself. That vision stirred something in Arjuna. He finally took a solemn vow, invoking truth, virtue, and his divine bow Gandiva, that he would bring down Bhishma down. After the ninth day, Yudhishthira approaches Bhishma and respectfully asks how they could win the war and get back the kingdom. In other words, how to defeat him. Bhishma smiled and said no one could kill him while he chose to fight except Arjuna. He revealed that he wouldn't fight Shikhandi, who was born a woman, and gave Arjuna permission to strike him while Shikhandi stood before him. Using Shikhandi as a shield, Arjuna rained divine arrows onto Bhishma, bringing him down on a bed of arrows. Bhishma, glowing like the sun, chose to wait till Uttarayana, the most auspicious time to give up his life. Bhishmacharya. Bhishma's presence on earth was considered a divine blessing. Krishna tells Yudhishthira that while Bhishma is still alive, the world holds light of wisdom. But once he departs, it would be like the sun setting. That's why Krishna urges Yudhishthira to go and quickly learn all that he could learn from Bhishma. When the Pandavas arrive at Kurukshetra, Bhishma is lying on a bed of arrows, chanting Bhishma's Stavarajyam, a powerful hymn that invokes the essence of Vishnu Tattva. This is counted among the Pancharatna Gitas, the five jewels of spiritual wisdom: Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama, Vishnu Stavarajyam, Anusmriti, and Gajendra Moksham. Bhishma then begins to teach dharma to Yudhishthira, covering Raja Dharma, Apada Dharma, and Moksha Dharma, and the duties of women and Brahmins. These teachings are found in the Shanti and Anushasana Parvas that are collectively known as Bhishma Gita. As he finishes, Bhishma offers all his words as Vak Yagna, a sacrifice made through speech, and prays that Krishna would be pleased. This moment shows that even prayer and wisdom offered with sincerity are equal to highest forms of Yagna. In his final moments, Bhishma asks Krishna for his permission to die. He enters a deep yogic meditation and leaves his body through his sahasra consciously yet peacefully. As he ascends, the celestial drums echo, the sky rains flowers, and even the arrows that are lodged into his body fall. Ganga rises from water in grief, but Krishna comforts her, saying that Bhishma was not only untouched by sorrow, he had fulfilled his dharma and returned home. To conclude, Bhishma's life teaches us that dharma is not only about rules, it is about intent, wisdom, and sacrifice. He was born divine, lived like a warrior come saint, and died as a guru. Thank you.
Great presentation, Amrita. Does anybody have any questions for Amrita? Okay. Amrita, I have one question for you. So on the fourth and ninth days of war, Krishna picking up weapons and charging on Bhishma. What is the inner significance behind that?
So basically, before the 2 days, Arjuna was going soft on Bhishma. He was seeing his grandfather rather than the enemy, and Arjuna had forgotten his duty, his dharma. So Krishna picking up the weapon was Krishna charging towards Bhishma was basically to remind Arjuna of his duty.
There's another portion too. Do you remember?
It's also that Bhishma is is one of the Ashtavasus, right? So while fighting while fighting on the Adharma side, Krishna rising up from the chariot is something like he wants to remind Bhishma not to use his divine powers while fighting for Adharma.
Great job, Sahitya. Next is Sridhama. Sridham. Okay. All right then. Srihan. You can go ahead.
Can I join from the laptop?
Okay. We'll move on then. Join and then ping you when you come back, and we'll come back to you.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Next is Samanyu.
Namaskaram, everybody. Today I'm going to tell about Bhima. Bhima is the son of Kunti. Bhima is the second eldest son of Pandu and Kunti. He was born with the power of air god. He learned the archery from Dronacharya and mace from Balrama. Bhima's boons are Vaski the snake god gave the power of 10,000 elephants. Hanuman gave the boon that he will stay on the chariot of Arjuna in the war. Even though Bhima is powerful, he always listens to his elder brother Yudhishthira. Bhima has killed many warriors. He fought and killed the demons below. Bakasura, Hidimba, Jarasandha, and Kichaka. One day, Bhima meets Hanuman in the process of getting the Saugandhi flowers asked by Draupadi. Bhima and Dushyasana's battle. Bhima had fight with Dushyasana and killed him with his gada, mace. His face is spoiled and also cut his hands. He made a promise earlier that he will kill and drink his blood. But in reality, he told Gandhari that he did not drink his blood since he is his brother. He just make the blood touch his upper lips and applied the blood to his hands. This is very well known by Karna. I acted like that I fulfilled my promise. Bhima and Duryodhana's final battle. Bhima had a fight with Duryodhana with his mace and killed him by hitting on his thigh. Bhima the righteous dharma. Balrama told is not right to hit below the thigh part of Duryodhana. Then he took his weapon to fight with Bhima. Then Krishna held Balrama's hand and stopped and told these dharma points. When adharma raised and have more power, dharma people can use these techniques to fight strong enemies to save dharma and for larger benefit explained in Bruhaspati Rajaniti Sastra. Also, it happened for the curse of Maitreya Maharshi, and Bhima also promised that he will hit uh, Duryodhana on his thigh. Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Samanyu. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Next is Srikari. Srikari, you stopped your screen share.
Today I'm going to be talking about Arjuna. Arjuna is the third son of Panduraju and Kunti Devi. He is born with the arms of Indra and also Narayana. Arjuna is obedient, has a lot of valor and courage. He is good in decision making, like when he went to Dwaraka along with Duryodhana. He chose Krishna over the Yadava army because he knows that Krishna is on the side of dharma and he will for sure win. He defeated so many warriors in the Rajasuya and the Kurukshetra war. Arjuna is Guru Dronacharya's favorite student because he is very focused, like when he is shooting the bird's eye. Everybody else said that they saw everything, but Arjuna said that he only saw the bird's eye, which means he is very keen at the target. That's why he won the heart of Dronacharya. He was also chosen to fulfill the Guru Dharma by capturing Veda. When Arjuna is in heaven, Urvashi asks him to marry her. Arjuna says that she's in the position of his mother on earth, but Urvashi says that this is heaven and there are no such relationships. Arjuna says that no matter where he is in the three worlds, he will always follow Earth's dharma. So Urvashi cursed Arjuna to be a eunuch. Arjuna was sad and went to Indra. Indra told him that it was like a boon because he could be, in the year of hiding, he can be a eunuch. The morals are follow your dharma. Our dharma is a culture of positives. The other moral is dharma rakshati rakshitaha, which means if you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. Arjuna was sad to fight with his relatives, gurus, and soldiers. He feels a sudden sadness and pity for them. Then Krishna tells the Bhagavad Gita, Kurukshetra is the place where Bhagavad Gita is born. Arjuna realizes that he is killing Adharma and not his people. He is also protecting Dharma. After Abhimanyu is killed, Arjuna announces to kill Jayadratha by the next day's sunset. Otherwise, he will kill himself. He made this oath without consulting Yudhishthira or Krishna, which means he might not survive. The next day in the war, the Kauravas arranged a difficult vyuha, but by the time he got to Jayadratha, Krishna said that there is not much time to kill Jayadratha, so he creates a block around the sun with his yoga to look like it's sunset, and Jayadratha lifted his head. Krishna told Arjuna to shoot the arrow at Jayadratha's head, but not to let it fall to the ground. Instead, it should fall on Jayadratha's father's lap. When he gets up, the head will roll to the ground, so his father will die. Arjuna did as Krishna said. Krishna also helped Arjuna to fulfill his vow. Arjuna killing Karna is fair because Karna already broke so many rules in the war, so it is dharma to kill him when he is on the ground. We can learn a lot about Arjuna in the Mahabharata. Thank you.
Great job, Srikari. Any questions about Arjuna for Srikari? Srikari, can you elaborate on what Krishna says during the death of Karna and why it is fair for Arjuna to kill him?
Like, it's okay to kill him because he's on the ground, and even though he's on the ground, one of the rules of the war are like you can't kill someone when they're like on the ground. But Karna already like broke so many rules, so it's okay.
Yes, and also Karna specifically breaks this rule during the death of Abhimanyu, right? Okay. Sriram? Okay, yeah, sure, Sriram. We'll come back to you then. Okay. Ramya?
Is my presentation visible in full screen mode?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Shivaya Guruve Namaha. I'm Ramya and I'll be talking about Draupadi. Birth of Draupadi. Draupadi was born from fire, not from mother's womb. Her father, King Drupada, did a powerful yagna to get a daughter who would marry warrior Arjuna and support dharma. Draupadi is also known as Yagna Seni for this reason, meaning born from yagna. And she was also referred to as Swargalakshmi, reborn on earth. Regarding her marriage to five Pandavas, to understand why Draupadi married five husbands, we must know a small story that is Panchendra Upakyanam. Because of the curse of Lord Shiva to the five previous Indras who were stubborn and overly proud of their position, they had to be born as Pandavas and marry her. She herself was Swargalakshmi, so her five marriages were due to divine plan, not just a desire or mistake. In her current life, she was won by Arjuna in Swayamvara, but when Pandavas returned home, Kunti mistakenly said, "Share whatever you have brought." Because of her words and destiny, Draupadi became the wife of all five. She married each Pandava on different days, starting with Dharmaraju, then Bhima, Arjuna, and so on. Each time she appeared as a new, untouched bride, like a Kanya. This is not possible for an ordinary woman, and it shows her purity and divine nature. Managing life with five Pandavas. Draupadi lived 1 year with each husband in rotation, and during that year, she never saw others as husbands. She saw them as brother-in-law or father-in-law, according to their age. When she came back to the same husband after 5 years, she looked and behaved the same as before, as if no time passed. This is purity and is beyond human ability. It shows her great tapasakti and inner discipline. The most painful moment in her life was in Kaurava court. Yudhishthira had lost everything in the dice game, and she said to Dhritarashtra, "You are the father-in-law more than a father. Is it not your duty to protect me when your sons are insulting me?" But he remained silent. She even questioned everyone in the court, like, "Is Dharma even alive in this court? Can a woman be staked after her husband has lost himself?" And these powerful questions made everyone silent in the court. When Dusasana tried to disrobe her, she folded her hands and called Lord Krishna. She protected her dignity. He protected her dignity with an endless sari. Her devotion saved her, not her power, not her husband's, only her bhakti. And when Draupadi was insulted in Kaurava court, her face turned fierce with anger. Her divine rage made even the elders tremble, and she was described as Kali, showing her true power and divinity. Again, Pativrata Draupadi. People say, how can a woman with five husbands be a Pativrata? But this is a wrong question. Pativrata is not about one husband or five husbands. It's about how faithful devotion you are showing towards your one husband. Draupadi was totally faithful to her five husbands. She followed them in joy and sorrow, served each of them with the same respect, never insulted or disrespected them. Even when Arjuna married Subhadra, she accepted her as co-wife. When her sons were killed by Ashwadhama, she stopped Bhima from killing him, saying he's our guru's son. Let's not break dharma. Draupadi's life in exile. Just like Sita following Lord Rama, she followed all of her 5 husbands, leaving all the privileges as a queen. And when Durvasa Maharshi came to visit Draupadi after she had finished eating, and the Akshay Patra couldn't give more food, Draupadi prayed to Krishna in helpless in that state, and he came, asked her to check the pot again, and she found one grain of rice, and Krishna ate it, and that one grain satisfied Durvasa and his Sishyas, so they left without asking for food. And during the exile, there's another misconception that Draupadi left her hair open for the 13 years, but this is false. She tied the bun, and this is even mentioned when Krishna visited Draupadi in exile. Misunderstanding the Draupadi laughing at Duryodhana in Maya Sabha. Draupadi was not even present there at the time, and this is a false story that got spread later. She never insulted him there. Yeah, this is another false story about Draupadi. Some people say Draupadi wanted Karna as her 6th husband, and then a fruit went up to the tree back, signifying that is the truth. But this story is completely false. It's not in Vyasa Mahabharata. Draupadi was given in marriage to 5 Pandavas by Lord Shiva's boon, and she never desired Karna in that way. These stories are made up later and are not authentic. Yeah, as a woman in Kali Yuga, I learned many things from Draupadi. She taught me how to be brave, to have faith in God, and to stand for truth. She showed me how to stay pure, emotionally strong, and follow dharma even in hard times. And she proved that a woman can be bold, respectful, spiritual, and still full of love and dignity. Thank you.
Great presentation about Draupadi, Ramya. Does anybody have any questions for Ramya? Okay. Next up, Srihan, were you able to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead?
Okay. The Rajasuya, Yagna and the death of Shishupala. What is Rajasuya Yagna? The Rajasuya Yagna is a grand Vedic ritual performed by king to declare himself as an emperor. A Chakravarti Raja, acknowledged by other kings who performed it. Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, after gaining strength and allies, declares to perform the Rajasuya Yagna to establish his sovereignty over Bharatvarsha, ancient India. Preparation and invitation. Preparation. Krishna advises Yudhishthira to first subdue all rival kings. The Pandavas go on military campaigns, defeating all allying with various kingdoms. Eventually, Yudhishthira gets the blessings of sages and rulers to conduct the Yagna. The ritual is attended by many important kings and nobles, including Krishna, Bhima, Drona, and Shishupala, king of Chedi. Who was Shishupala? Shishupala was the king of Chedi, a cousin of Krishna, whose mother Shrukati, sister of Krishna's mother, Devaki. He was an enemy of Krishna and extremely arrogant. His backstory. At birth, Shishupala was born with a deformity. A divine voice told his parents he would die at the hands of the person whose presence would cure his deformities. When a baby Krishna was brought near him, the deformities disappeared. This was revealed that Krishna would one day kill him. Krishna promised his aunt, Shishupala's mother, that he would forgive 100 offenses of Shishupala before punishing him. At Rajasuya, during the ceremony, Yudhishthira consults elders on who should be honored. First, the Agra Puja, first worship. Bhishma suggests Krishna as the most worthy. Shishupala's insult. Enraged by Krishna receiving the highest honor, Shishupala publicly insults Krishna, calling him a mere coward and unworthy. He also insults Bhishma and others. Krishna calmly counts the offense. Shishupala's death. When Shishupala crosses the 100 insult, Krishna warns him again. Shishupala continues with more abuse. Death at Krishna's hands. Krishna then uses his Sudarshan Chakra, divine discus, and beheads Shishupala in royal assembly. Liberation. Miraculously, a glowing light emerges from Shishupala's body and merges into Krishna, signifying moksha, liberation. It is believed that Shishupala, through an enemy, attained salvation because his thoughts were always fixed on Krishna, even hatred. Symbolism and lessons. Dharma, Yudhishthira's Rajasuya, signifies the establishment of righteous rule. Dignity of Krishna, killing Shishupala, publicly shows Krishna's role as the supreme being and predictor of dharma. Detachment. Even the hatred of God, if constantly focused on him, can achieve liberation through not the ideal path. Thank you.
Great presentation on the Rajasuya and the symbols behind Shishupala's death. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Next is Indivara. Indivara K.
Can you guys see my presentation?
Yep.
Okay. Shivaya Gurave Namaha. Today I'm going to speak about Kunti. So who is Kunti? Kunti is a Yadava princess and her actual name is Prutha. She's born to King Shurasena but was adopted by Kunti Boja, hence her another name is Kunti. Then Karna's birth. So as a maiden, she served Durvasa Maharshi with utmost devotion and patience, due to which she received a powerful mantra as a boon, which to summon any deity for a child. So as she was a very young, she was very young at that time. Out of curiosity, she just invoked Surya Deva, and she was given a child who was born with a Sahaja Kavachak and Kundala. That was Karna. But due to social stigma, as she was unmarried, so she had to leave the baby. So she kind of abandoned the baby in a basket, and so there many people think that what Kunti did was very wrong. She should not have abandoned her child, but her age, she was a very young girl, so she did it out of curiosity, and she did not exactly know, like, She did not know exactly what she was doing, and she was not in the age to understand, and she was not that mature. And even Vyasa Maharshi, he told that what she did was not wrong and this had to happen. Then her motherhood, even though she abandoned Karna right after he was born, she always cried for him, and she always remembered him. And after Panduraju and Madri's death, she took care of Nakula and Sahadeva just like their own. And on the battlefield, she told Karna that he was her firstborn, and she told him to join the Pandavas as an attempt to stop the war, but he remained loyal towards Duryodhana. Her courage, all her life she has she's endured a lot of humiliations, but yet she was composed. Even though she was separated from her sons during the exile, she showed incredible inner strength, and she was very strong. When Krishna asks Kunti what her message was for her sons, she told them that even though Duryodhana gives the Rajyam to them, they should not accept it, because they should, rather than accepting it, they should fight for the Rajyam, because it is rightfully theirs and it is dharma. Her bhakti, she had ananya bhakti towards Krishna, and she always prayed for challenges so that she would remain very close to divine or Krishna. This is this is a mark of her true devotion. After the war, she took Vanaprastha, and she retired to the forest along with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, and ultimately she achieved spiritual liberation. Her character is very inspiring and beautiful, because she endured a lot of humiliations in her life, but yet her devotion towards the divine was always intact, and she was always very courageous. Thank you.
Great presentation, Indu. I think Kunti is one of those very understated characters in Mahabharata, so great job talking about her.
Thank you.
Next is Lasya.
Hello everyone, Sivai Gurve Namaha. I'm Shanmukhi Lasya, and today I'm going to talk about Vidura. Who is Vidura? There's actually a really interesting story behind Vidura's birth, and it all started when a robbery took place at a king's treasury house. The soldiers chased them, however, after a few miles, the thieves kept the stolen treasure behind Mandavya Maharshi. When the soldiers found the treasury behind Mandavya Maharshi, they assumed that he was one of the thieves and took him to the king. And when they took them to the king has assigned him the punishment to sit on the Suladanda, which is very painful to sit on. Mandavya Maharshi took the punishment, thinking this was the sin he got for the previous life or the sin he did previously in his life. Later, the great scholars, rishis, and maharshis visited the king and explained the great personality of Mandavya Maharshi. The king then realizes his mistake and pleads for an apology. The Maharshi accepts the king's apology and goes to Yamadharmaraja, Then the Yamadharmaraja asks what mistake did he do to deserve such a punishment. Yamadharmaraja answers by saying, as a child you used to harm birds, insects, and as a result for that sin, he had received the punishment. Mandavya Maharshi replies, mistakes done as a child aren't considered as a sin. This is because kids aren't aware of which is right or wrong, or which is mistake or which is correct. So below the age of 14, no matter what mistake you do, it's not considered as a sin and you don't receive a punishment for it further. And since the Maharshi bare the punishment he never deserved, he cursed Yamadharmaraja to be born on earth as a son of a servant. And he did, as Vidura, by Veda Vyasa and the servant of Ambalika. The role Vidura had played in Kurusava. He is the minister of Kurusava. He had mastered in polity, administration, Vedas, and Dharmasastras. His knowledge, tips, and strategies had helped Dhritarashtra to rule the kingdom effectively. He lived a simple, normal life, even though he was a minister, and not too much of the pleasure and comforts. How he cared for Pandavas. He once saved the Pandavas from the evil plan of Dhritarashtra's of burning them at a wax house by hinting Yudhishthira. Even though the forest is captivated by wildfire, nothing happens to the mouse who hides in the holes. Not only this, there were some scenarios where Vidura had saved the Pandavas from the evil, cruel plans of Dhritarashtra's. Also, during the game of dice, Vidura shouts loud and clear that adharma is taking place and this is incorrect. However, the Dhritarashtras ignored this. Also, during Draupadi Vastravarna, Vidura tries to stop it by saying this is adharma and this should not be happen. However, Duryodhana brutally insults Vidura in front of everyone at the Sabha. Viduraniti. It also played a vital role in Mahabharata. This took place after the exile of the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra sent Sanjaya as a messenger to Pandavas, supporting his son's denial, not giving them their rights of ancestral kingdom. Having understood with this evil more clarity of the evil mindset and selfish nature of Dhritarashtra, Sanjay returns to Hastinapur, wakes up Dhritarashtra in the middle of the night, and severely scolds him for his adharmic needs. He further adds the calamity is impending and Dhritarashtra is bound to be doomed from all sides. After listening to these scolds, Dhritarashtra could not sleep all night thinking about it. Agitated at the development, Dhritarashtra, who does not sleep, remains awakened and orders Vidura to be summoned at once. When Vidura comes to Dhritarashtra's place, he mentioned his sleeplessness and asks him to say a word of morality. Listening to the righteous words soothes the mind and grants peace. This is when Viduraniti begins. He is a great devotee of Sri Krishna. This is proved during the Udyoga Parva when Duryodhana planned a great hospitality for Sri Krishna and he invites Sri Krishna to take his hospitality. However, Krishna denied it and instead takes Vidura's hospitality. Here it should be understood that Sri Krishna does not care about the grand welcomings or hospitality, but what he cares is bhakti and true nature of the person. Since Vidura has this, Sri Krishna took Vidura's hospitality. And lastly, the fall of Vidura. After the battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Vidura, and Sanjaya left to the forest to do tapas. After some time, the Siddha Purushas such as Narada, Parvata, Veda, Vyasa, and etc. came to bless Dhritarashtra. At this time, they mentioned that Vidura was not an ordinary person, and in the and in the near future, the aura with Vidura would merge with Yudhishthira. After a few months, Yudhishthira and his four brothers came to the forest to visit their elders. Dhritarashtra was pleased and happy seeing the Pandavas and spent a quality time for a while. Yudhishthira then asked where was Vidura since he was not seen. Then Dhritarashtra replies that Vidura was doing tapas somewhere in the forest, and oftentimes he went into such state of samadhi that he had no consciousness of the world. Listening to this, Yudhishthira went into the forest to search for Vidura. He eventually found him at the base of the tree with his hair matted and looking as if only his bones were left due to his extreme tapas. Yudhishthira went near him and introduced that he was Yudhishthira. Listening to this, Vidura opened his eyes and looked into Yudhishthira's eyes. As he did so, through his eyes, a Tejas and a Sukshma Sarira came out and entered Yudhishthira, increasing his aura many times. Dharmaraja felt as though he had gotten some new strength, a new power. This shows that the Amsa, the aspect of Dharma in Vidura, entering Yudhishthira, while the actual Jiva of Vidura attained exalted states. Thank you.
All right, great job, Lasya. Any questions about Vidura, anybody? Yeah. One small correction, Lasya. To the forest, it's not just Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and Sanjay who go. Kunti also goes with them, like I think Indu mentioned. So it's all five of them. But yeah. Okay, next is Sriram.
One minute. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sriram, we can hear you.
Shivaya Guruve Namaha. My name is Srirama, and today I'm
Sriram,
going to
go into presenter mode before you start.
And also, can you lower your screen? We are unable to see your face completely. Thank you.
Now is it okay?
You are good, but it's not in presentation mode.
I'll just adjust it.
Yeah, great, Sriram. You can start.
Okay. Shivaya Guruve Namaha. My name is Srirama. Today I'm going to talk about Yudhishthira. Early life and education. Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas in the Indian epic Mahabharata, is often also called as Dharmaraja. He was born by the grace of Yamadharmaraja, the god of death and dharma, which inherently placed upon him the burden of living governed by righteousness. Due to his piety, Dharmaputra means the son of Dharma, and Ajatashatru, one without enemies.
Grew up in Hastinapura with great-grandfather Bhishma, his uncle Vidura, and his mentor Dronacharya. From a young age, Yudhishthira showed up a deep understanding and respect for dharma, earning the admiration and love of the citizens of Hastinapura. Rajasuya Yagna. Yagna was a sacrifice performed by ancient kings to be declared the king of kings. After becoming the king of Indraprastha, Yudhishthira performed this yaga. The yaga required him to win all the other kingdoms either by friendship or war. Mayasura built the Maya Sabha, an assembly hall unlike any other, exquisite in every aspect. Following the Yagna, Duryodhana's arrogance led him to a misstep that leaves him utterly humiliated. Fueled by the humiliation, Duryodhana's jealousy, envy, fear, and anger grew beyond measure. The dice game and exile. One of the most significant events in Yudhishthira's life was the game of dice, hosted by Duryodhana and his uncle Shakuni. Despite knowing the consequences, Yudhishthira's adherence to the rules of hospitality and dharma compelled him to accept the challenge. Shakuni cheated, and Yudhishthira lost the whole treasury. He lost his kingdom, he lost his personal jewels, then he lost his brothers. He then put himself at the stake and lost himself, which means that he was a slave to Duryodhana. Then Yudhishthira put the kingdom at stake and lost it. He also put Draupadi at stake and lost it again, and went into 13 years of exile, including 1 year in Ajnatavasa. Yaksha Prasna. One of the most notable episodes during the exile is the Yaksha Prasna, where the Yudhishthira's wisdom is put to the test by a divine being in the form of a Yaksha. His responses to the philosophical questions posed by the Yaksha demonstrated his deep understanding of dharma, morality, and human nature. This episode solidified his status as an epitome of wisdom and virtue. Kurukshetra War. Despite Yudhishthira's advice of peace over war, Yudhishthira was eventually forced to lead his brother in the battle of Kurukshetra to reclaim their rightful kingdom. Throughout the battle, he remained true to his principles and upheld the rules of warfare. In an instance, Yudhishthira's integrity was tested. All knew that defeating Drona was tough in the war, so Lord Sri Krishna asked Yudhishthira to tell Guru Drona that Ashwadama was killed by Bhima. Yudhishthira was not ready to tell a lie, so Sri Krishna made a war strategy and asked Bhima to kill an elephant which had the name Ashwadama. And then Yudhishthira announced that Ashwadama Ataha, which means Ashwadama is dead. Then he thought he was lying and quietly said Kunjaraha, which means elephant. This is a small mistake committed by Yudhishthira, which was cheating a guru. Regaining empire and attaining heaven. After the Pandavas' victory, Yudhishthira is crowned emperor and ruled for 36 years. His wisdom and fairness in governance made him highly popular. In the later years, Yudhishthira, along with his brother and wife, renounced throne and started journey to Himalayas seeking moksha. Thank you.
Great presentation, Sriram. Like Samgari mentioned in the comments, it's pronounced Maya Asura, right? So Maya Asura or Maya Danava, both of those, for the person who built the Maya Sabha. Okay. Anybody else have any questions about Yudhishthira? Okay, Sriram, when the Pandavas are going towards heaven, do you remember the final scene that occurs with Yudhishthira before he ascends to heaven?
I don't think I was there in like the last class.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So briefly, everybody remember that even in those final moments, we see the dharma of Yudhishthira when he refuses to abandon the dog that has come with him all the way. So even in that final moment, we can see the dharma of Yudhishthira. and also in the fact that Yudhishthira is able to go to heaven with his body, we can see once again, and it's proven once again, how pure of a character and how pure of a life Yudhishthira has. Okay. All right, next is Krishna. So Krishna, I know you're having some technical difficulties, so I'll share your presentation, but you need to tell me when to go to the next slide. Okay. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, Akka.
Okay, Krishna, you can get started. Krishna, are you talking? Because we can't hear you.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, next slide. So, introduction, a conflicted king. So, Dhritarashtra, the blind king of Hastinapura, represents one of the most complex characters in the Mahabharata. His story demonstrates the eternal struggle between dharma and adharma, between righteous duty and personal attachment. Dhritarashtra's blindness is both physical and metaphorical, representing his inability to see the truth of dharma and clouded by attachment. Next slide, please. Understanding dharma through Dhritarashtra's story. As taught by Shanmuka Sharma Garu, dharma manifests differently across the four yugas. Krita Yuga, dharma is naturally upheld and universally followed. Treta Yuga, dharma remains dominant. Dwapara Yuga, dharma and adharma are in somewhat of a balance. In Kali Yuga, dharma is overshadowed by adharma. Dhritarashtra's era, Dwapara Yuga, required conscious choice between dharma and adharma, a choice that he did not end up making correctly. Next slide, please. So, birth and the burden of blindness. Born blind to Queen Ambika, Dhritarashtra's physical blindness symbolized his spiritual blindness through his life. Despite being the eldest, his blindness denied him the throne, yet he truly never accepted this, harboring resentment that would manifest in his partiality towards his sons. What we can learn from this: accept your limitations with grace, support people and learn to always give, and don't always relish in the fact that everyone's against you and think that you're just kind of like doomed and like that you shouldn't have this. You think that you're always being discriminated against, and first think if it's actually like their fault. So don't just like think out of anger, but like think out of like think of other situation. Next slide, please. Ascending the throne, a dharmic dilemma. When Pandu renounced the throne, Dhritarashtra became the king by circumstances, not by his right. This presented a dharmic test of some sorts. Initial dharmic actions. He accepted the responsibility of kingship when duty called for him to. And he initially treated the Pandavas as his own sons, and he sought counsel from the wise advisors like Vidura and Bhishma. But the seeds of adharma were he harbored secret resentment about not being the rightful king.
He began showing favoritism towards his sons and failed to establish clear succession principles. The lesson is power obtained through circumstances. Oh, can you go back to the past slide? Power obtained through circumstances rather than merit requires an even greater adherence to dharma to legitimize it. Next slide, please. Failure to follow duty. When Duryodhana attempted to poison Bhishma, Dhritarashtra's response revealed his fundamental weakness. Early a dharmic pattern, he failed to punish Duryodhana appropriately, and he allowed his parental attachment to override his duty as king. He set a precedent that his sons were above the law and ignored the advice of Vidura and Bhishma. What we can learn from this is that Dharma's failure to embody I meant to say Dhritarashtra. What we can learn from this is not supposed to be there. Dhritarashtra's failure to embody ahimsa and satyam in dealing with this incident marked the beginning of his true dharmic downfall. And then next slide, please. The game of dice, Dhritarashtra's greatest test. The game of dice represents Dhritarashtra's complete failure as king, father, and dharmic person. The failure allowed an unfair game to proceed in his court, permitted the humiliation of Draupadi, ignored his dharma to protect those under his care, chose temporary family advantage over eternal dharma. While Yudhishthira's dharma was being praised even in defeat, Dhritarashtra's adharma was accumulating through silence and inaction. Next slide, please. Kurukshetra War, the consequence of adharma. The Great War was the inevitable result of Dhritarashtra's years of adharmic decisions. How it was preventable was that he should have controlled Duryodhana's ambitions early, and he should have ensured fair treatment of the Pandavas, accepted Krishna's final peace proposal, and abdicated in favor of dharmic rule. Dhritarashtra's ego and attachment caused him to act in ways that disturbed the world's harmony, leading to the devastating war. Next slide, please. Dhritarashtra's turnaround, his realization of dharma. In the years after, the Pandavas came to console Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, who had realized their mistake too late. Their sons were all dead. At first, Dhritarashtra had anger towards them, but realized that his actions were the reason for the loss of his sons. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari decided to renounce everything and go to the forest to live, and so go to Vanaprastha. Yudhishthira did not agree until Vyasa told him to. Vidura also left and went into tapas. Kunti also left too. Soon all of them except for soon all of them had passed away in like a forest fire. Next slide, please. Final lesson. The Mahabharata's final teaching emphasizes that dharma is the foundation of existence, and that true righteousness must balance duty with compassion while remaining detached from outcomes. Through Bhishma's dying discourse, the epic teaches that life is transient and liberation comes through selfless action and devotion to universal welfare. Vyasa declared the essence of Mahabharata to be ahimsa paramo dharma. Nonviolence is the highest dharma, and stated that the epic serves as a complete guide to human conduct, containing all wisdom about dharma, righteousness, artha, wealth, kama, pleasure or love, and moksha, liberation. He gave us the ultimate message that understanding our interconnectedness and acting selflessly leads to both worldly success and spiritual liberation. Thank you.
Great job, Krishna. Does anybody have any questions about Dhritarashtra for Krishna? Krishna, do you remember what part of the tree of Adharma Dhritarashtra is described as in the beginning of Mahabharata?
I think he was he the main, I think he was one of the branches.
He's the root. He's the cause of everything.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You mentioned that in your... Yes. So from from there in that sloka, Maharshi Vedavyasa describes Dhritarashtra as Amanishi, to, by the end of Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra become a Rajarshi, we can see the transformation of Dhritarashtra, and you did a great job showing that in your presentation as well.
Thank you. I had a few typos
The-
because I had to rush because my original
Yeah.
presentation was deleted.
I
Thank you so
understand,
much.
yeah. Next is Sahasra. Sahasra?
Akka, wait a minute, I'm sharing the screen.
Okay. Sahasra, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Shivaya Gurave Namaha. My name is Sahasra Tirthala. Today I'm going to talk about Karna. Okay, I'm not able to share the screen.
We can see your screen, Sahasra. It's okay if you can't get it into presenter mode. Just go ahead and do your presentation.
Who was Karna? Karna is often hailed as a great warrior. Karna was born to Kunti and Surya Deva before Kunti's marriage due to a special bone that Kunti had. Karna was raised by a charioteer's family, Adhiratha and Radha. Karna was hence also called as Radheya or Vasusena. Karna was called as
Sahasra, you need to move your slides. Never mind, just go ahead. I think there might be some technical issues.
Karna was called as Sutaputra, son of a charioteer, despite being of a royal lineage and divine birth. Karna excelled in archery and was a fierce competitor to Arjuna. Duryodhana, on seeing the warrior in Karna, took Karna on his side and made him the king of Anga. The curse. Karna was cursed multiple times by multiple people, including from his guru Parasurama, eventually leading to his fall from the fame and death. Karna could not benefit from his skills when the most needed during the war due to multiple curses. True character of Karna. Karna had checkered personality. On one hand, he was well known. He was known for his generosity and unwavering loyalty to Duryodhana, but he had his share of negatives too. Karna's policies. Karna planted the seed thought of dragging Draupadi to the Kuru Sabha and disrobing her. Despite knowing fully well that Dharma was not on the side of Duryodhana, he instigated Duryodhana. The flaws of Karna. Karna also planted the idea of humiliating Pandavas in the mind of Duryodhana during their Vanavasa. Karma catches up sooner or later. Karna's boons and skills could not save him during the time of war. Finally, Karna fell in the hands of Arjuna. In conclusion, Karna was a checkered personality. Siding with Adharma can give only temporary gains, but in the end, Dharma will emerge victorious. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Great presentation, Sahasra. Anybody have any questions for Sahasra about Karna? Sahasra, do you remember the scene of Karna giving his kavacha and kundalas to Indra?
Yes, and Indra gave an astra to Karna.
Yes. So is that really a dana of Karna, or was it a deal? It's a deal, right? Remember we talked about this in class. Okay, anyway. Next is Kanishka. Kanishka?
Shivaya Gurve Namaha. Today I'm talking about the death of Drona. Drona's violation
Kanishka,
of dharma.
turn on your camera.
Shivaya Gurve Namaha. Today I'm talking about the death of Drona. Drona's violation of dharma and unnecessary cruelty. Drona was a great teacher but violated his Brahmana dharma by fighting for the Kauravas who are on the side of Adharma. He used unnecessary cruelty in war like using advanced weapons against ordinary soldiers and showing anger-driven violence. He did not continue fighting out of a desire for personal victory. Duryodhana harshly questioned Drona's loyalty and courage, accusing him of not using his power to protect the Kauravas. These harsh words hurt Drona's pride and pushed him to fight ruthlessly, leading to unnecessary cruelty in battle. Drona played a key role in the unfair killing of Abhimanyu. He formed the Chakravyuha, circular military formation, to trap the Pandavas. When Abhimanyu entered, he allowed multiple warriors to attack Abhimanyu together, breaking the rules of Dharma in war, which shows his instrumental role in Abhimanyu's tragic death. Lord Krishna's explanation of Satya. When Drona was unstoppable, the Mahashis appeared to Drona and tell him to lay down his weapon. But Drona ignored them and continued fighting. So Lord Krishna told Yudhishthira to say Ashwadhama is dead because of Drona's boon, which was he cannot be defeated as long as he was holding a weapon, and vow that if he listens something unpleasant from a Satpurusha, he will lay down his weapons. Lord Krishna explains Dharma is not just about personal truth, but about protecting the larger growth. Lord Krishna teaches that Satya is important but should serve Dharma. If speaking literal truth causes greater adharma, it is not real Dharma. Lord Krishna clarified the truth without dharma can become adharma. An action aligned with dharma, even if it is harsh, it is necessary for the greater good, like Lord Krishna's advice to Yudhishthira to say Aswadhama is dead, was to end the cruelty in the war and save countless lives. Yudhishthira's mistake. Lord Krishna advised the Pandavas that Drona could only be defeated if he laid down his weapons. The only way to do this was to tell him his son Ashwadhama was dead, as Drona loved him deeply. Bhima killed an elephant named Ashwadhama, and Lord Krishna asked Yudhishthira to announce that Ashwadhama is dead. Yudhishthira was in a dilemma because Yudhishthira was known for his commitment to truth. He hesitated to say Ashwadhama is dead because he felt it would be a lie, as Ashwadhama, the son of Drona, was still alive. Even though Yudhishthira knows it was not the righteous thing, still he did it in order to protect Dharma as he was preached by Lord Krishna. So Krishna explained to Yudhishthira what Dharma and Satya were and how they actually were. After that, Yudhishthira said Ashwadhama is dead, but added softly the elephant. The last part was drowned out by cow sounds. Drona only heard that his son was dead. Drona, in grief, laid down his weapons. Then Dhritarashtra beheaded Drona, but Drona already left his body. As soon as he heard about Ashwadhama's death from Yudhishthira, he sits within his chariot and through yoga leaves his body. Dhritarashtra beheads a dead Drona despite being stopped by Arjuna and Yudhishthira, who throughout their yoga see the Atma of Drona leaving his body. Even though it was necessary, Yudhishthira felt deep guilt for using a half-truth to deceive Drona. His hesitation delayed the action, causing more destruction on the battlefield. According to Krishna, Yudhishthira's attachment to his personal image, never lying, was a mistake, as it conflicted with the larger dharma protecting righteousness and ending adharma. Arjuna comparing the death of Drona with Rama killing Vali. After Drona's death on the battlefield, many were troubled about the way he was killed using deception. The Pandavas wondered if they had committed adharma by killing Drona through trickery. Arjuna compared Drona's death to the killing of Vali by Lord Rama in the Ramayana. In the Ramayana, Vali was a mighty warrior with a boon making him undefeatable in a direct combat. Lord Rama killed Vali from behind a tree, which was seen as unfair by some. Similarly, Drona was undefeatable in direct battle because of his skills and weapons. Arjuna explained sometimes to protect Dharma, indirect or unusual methods are necessary when facing those who support Adharma. Just as Rama's action removed a threat to Dharma, Vali supporting Adharma, the death of Drona was necessary to protect the world from his cruelty even in war. Even though the method seemed unfair, it was done with the intention of restoring Dharma, not for personal gain. Key points. Truth is important, but truth must serve Dharma. Rigid attachment to personal values can become a weakness if it allows the Adharma to continue. Speaking literal truth that allows Adharma to continue is not true Dharma. Thank you.
Okay, Kanishka, one correction. Yudhishthira's mistake in this scene is not that he says what Krishna told him to do. What Krishna told Yudhishthira to do is completely in accordance with dharma. His mistake is not doing exactly what Krishna tells him to do. In his confusion, Yudhishthira adds the word kunjaraha, softly saying elephant. And because of that, he does the mistake of guru vanchana, or cheating his guru. And that is the mistake that Yudhishthira does, not saying that Ashwatthama is dead. Okay, so one small correction. Okay, next is Medha.
minute. I'm getting my presentation ready. Sorry.
Sorry?
I'm just getting my presentation ready.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah. Go ahead. After Medha is going to be Kirtana. So Kirtana, have your presentation ready.
I seem to be having trouble sharing. You can ask the next person to share. I will go after. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Kirtana, do you want to go ahead?
Sure.
Shivaya Gurave Namaha, Namaskaram. My name is Kirtana Malapaka, and today I will be talking about Nalopakyanam, mainly from the perspective of Nala. Nala and Damayanti. Nala was the king of the Nishada country, known for his truthfulness, valor, and other virtues. After hearing various people talk about the beauty and virtues of Damayanti, princess of Vidarbha, he started to develop a liking for her. This was further developed when Lord Shiva, disguised as a swan, came to Nishada to tell Nala about Damayanti. The same swan goes to Vidarbha to tell Damayanti about Nala and deepen her love for him. Both Nala and Damayanti had a liking for each other. The Swayamvara. Having realized this, King Bhima, Damayanti's father, organizes a Swayamvara. This was more a formality to tell the rest of the royal community about Damayanti's marriage. Nala and the other kings immediately set out to go to the Swayamvara. Having heard of this, Indra, Agni, Varuna, and Yama decide to go to the Swayamvara as well. They stopped and asked Nala to be their messenger and tell Damayanti to marry one of them. Nala went to the palace of Damayanti and first introduced himself as the messenger of those gods, and then by his name. When he could have said negative things about the gods, he was honest to the core and talked only in favor of the Devatas. This shows us Nala's character. Kali enters Nala. Afterwards, Nala and Damayanti get married and lead a happy life. However, Kali and Dwapara felt insulted as they were trying to go to Damayanti's Swayamvara and were told that she had already chosen Nala. So they decided to try to ruin Nala and Damayanti's married life. However, they were unable to, as both Nala and Damayanti were very virtuous and pious. But one day, Nala forgot to clean his feet after using the bathroom and went on to do his prayers, which is a durachara. Using this, Kali entered Nala and made him lose everything to his cousin in a game of dice. Nala in the forest. After this, Nala goes to the forest with Damayanti. He promises to not leave her. However, that night, Kali influences Nala to leave Damayanti for the good of her. After leaving Damayanti alone in the forest, Nala starts thinking about whether he did the right thing or not. He starts wandering around until a voice calls him for help. Nala quickly searches for the voice and finally finds a snake called Karkotaka, who was surrounded by fire. The friendship with Karkotaka. Nala helps Karkotaka escape the fire and strikes friendship with him. Karkotaka tells Nala to come closer and suddenly bites him. This makes Nala disfigured and hunchbacked. Karkotaka then tells Nala that his disfiguration would allow him to go into kingdoms without being recognized. He also tells him to go to Ayodhya and work for King Rituparna. Since Nala has Ashwahridaya Vidya, he could become the king's charioteer and probably learn Aksha Vidya from the king. Karkotaka adds that whenever Nala wished to acquire his normal form, he just has to think about Karkotaka and then he would send Nala clothes that would return him back to his normal form. Karkotaka also tells him that the snake poison would not hurt Nala and would instead cause the Kali inside him pain. Nala meets King Rituparna. Nala thanks Karkotaka. He then joins King Rituparna's court. In the meantime, Damayanti starts to search for Nala, having returned back to her kingdom. She sent a question to all kingdoms and gets a response that sounds like Nala's from Ayodhya. She then tells a messenger to tell only Ayodhya that the Punaswaramvara of Damayanti is the next day from whenever the messenger reaches Ayodhya. After hearing this, King Rituparna asked Nala if they would be able to go to the Swayamvara in time. Nala tells him that they can and prepares the chariot. As they are going, Nala explains the eloquence of Ashwa Hridaya Vidya. The chariot goes so fast that at one point King Rituparna's garment falls off and King Rituparna asks Nala to go back. Nala replies that he can't, as even in 1 second the chariot went 100 yojanas. Hearing this, the king gets a wish to share his own Vidya with Nala. The king asks Nala to stop and tells him how many leaves are in a tree just looking at it. Nala counts the leaves and is so amazed as the number is exactly the same as what the king told him. Nala asks the king to teach him Akshavidya in return for him teaching the king Ashwahridaya Vidya. The king agrees to teach him but refuses to get Ashwahridaya Vidya back as he doesn't know Nala's lineage or gurus. Kali comes out of Nala. After Rituparna teaches Nala the Vidya, Nala sees a man come out of him vomiting. When Nala asks the man who he is, the man tells him that he is Kali Purusha, who entered him because of his small mistake and had been the one who was causing all of Nala's problems. The virtues of Nala and the Pativritya of Damayanti had been burning him up, but he was too stubborn to come out. Karkotaka's poison also caused him a great amount of pain. But the final straw was the new Vidya that Nala had learned, and this had caused him to come out of Nala's body. Nala gets very angry and wants to curse Kali. However, Kali begs Nala not to curse him and promises that whomever remembers Nala, Damayanti, Karkotaka, and Rituparna will be freed from the influence of Kali. Whoever says this shloka every day will be free from Kali. Karkotakasya nagasya, Damayantya nalasya cha, Rituparnasya rajarshe, kirtanam kalinashana. This is the shloka. Nala gets his kingdom back. Afterwards, Rituparna and Nala reach Vidarbha. They are very confused as they cannot see any Swayamvara happening. Meanwhile, Damayanti hears the sound of Nala's chariot coming. She immediately recognizes the sound as her husband's chariot and becomes excited. In order to confirm that the man was indeed her husband, she places a few tests using her sharp wit. Nala cleared all of these tests, reminisced about Karkotaka, and got his form back. After that, he won his kingdom back and ruled for the rest of his life. This ends the story of Nala and Damayanti. Nala is also called Punya Shloka, which means whoever thinks of him or chants his name will be blessed. Important points from the stories. I think some of the very important key takeaways of this story are that acquisition of Vidya drives out evil influences. One should always acquire Vidya from a guru that has a respectable lineage. And one should always have good virtues even in our time. Dhanyavad.
Great job summarizing the story of Nala and Damayanti and focusing on the virtues of Nala Kirtana. Next is Gauri.
Okay, give me 1 second. You can see the screen, right?
Yes.
I'll minimize this. Okay, my name is Gauri and I'm going to be talking about Damayanti. So a little background to this. Sorry about that. So as we know about Damayanti's Pativrata Vidya Dharma, Damayanti falls in love with Nala in the way the swan has described in, same thing that happened to Nala. And ever since she hears the characteristics of Nala, she was in her own world and only thinks about him all the time. And when it's her Swayamvara, Nala came in as a messenger and tells her that she will have to marry one of the Devatas. And usually the dharma is to accept it, but she refused to marry one of them because she said she will kill herself if that happens. And then Nala then tells her in the form of a messenger that she cannot refuse the proposal from the Devatas. This shows her true loyalty, freedom, and skill of empathy. So during the Swayamvara, Damayanti is faced with a challenge because all of the devatas look like all the devatas have the same face of Nala, and she has to figure out which one is the real Nala. And with the intelligence, she was able to find the real Nala because the devatas did not sweat, didn't blink, the ornaments in their skin were not dusty, and their feet didn't touch the ground. So with all of those points that she has seen, she was able to find the real Nala, and they got married. So before she would make such a wise decision about this, she prayed because she was struggling to tell like all the differences of all the Nalas she was been seen upon, and she was praying for a solution to the problem with true loyalty. And when she opened her eyes, as I said, she was able to solve the problem. This shows that when a person is in a deep problem, it is best to surrender to God and He will guide you to a better solution. This also reflects to the Mahabharata when Arjuna didn't want the war because his close people were at the Kaurava side. And then Krishna had to remind them as a Kshatriya that it is his duty to accept the war and fight for his dharma. When Damayanti thought about killing herself at first because at the time when Nala had disappeared into the forest, and Indra had to remind her that it is not a good thing to do such an act to like kill yourself, or else you see only bad in yourself. But if you prevent yourself of doing such an act, you will see hundreds of good things happening to you. And as she is in the search to find a husband, she showed her true bravery because she had deep hope to find him no matter how many days it takes. She made a statement by arranging a Punya Swayamvara to see if Nala comes back to her and ask that same messenger to spread the message around. The logic behind it is that the distance between Vidarbha and Ayodhya is a yojana away, which is approximately 10 miles. And so Nala uses a chariot to come back to Vidarbha. And when he does come back to Vidarbha, he was in a form of Bahuka. And with that, Damayanti gave him 3 tests. The first one is to send a servant to see what Nala is doing. The servant came back to her and said that he's cooking, which is one of his traits he has. Nala asked this. Nala asked the servant if she's really having if Damayanti is having a punya swayamvara, and the servant told her it was a farge and his mood was upsurge. The second test is his cooking skills. The servant was been sent back to how the food is and get some of the samples of the food. The servant came back and said that his food looked tasty and got the samples for Damayanti to taste. She loved the food samples that her husband made, which proves that he passed the second test. The final test is to bring her children to him. So when his kids came towards him, he forgets himself and the work and hugs them with tears on his eyes as if he didn't see them for years. The servant sees his tears and he wipes the tears immediately, and the servant told this final incident to Damayanti. So with that, Damayanti calls Bahuka, which was in a form of Nala. So he came, and she was shy at first, and then when she realized that the Bahuka is no other than Nala, she felt so happy. But she was also very confused about the form that he was at. So he had to change his clothes, and after he changed his clothes, he came back to the original form and they both hugged. So one point, even though there was not much of dharmas that I've seen during the story, one of the big ones is that when when she was grieving for the husband to come back, she did something called Sairantri Vrata. And this was the vrata that is performed by women when the husbands are away. And it is the vrata to reunite them together as one. Even Sita also did this vrata when she is in Ashoka Parvam. Thank you.
Right. Overall, good job, Gauri. Two small corrections. One is Damayanti's dharma in the beginning, when she says that she refuses to marry the Devatas, is that she has already accepted Nala as her husband with her mind. And so it would be a violation of her Pativrata dharma to marry someone else. And finally, the end, the Sairantri Vrata isn't performed by Sita, it's performed by Draupadi during their year in hiding in Virata. Okay. That's it. All right, next is Medha.
Hi guys, my name is Meera. Namaste. I'll be talking about one of the important characters in the Mahabharata, who is also called Savitri. Next slide. So who was Savitri? Known in the story as Savitri Upakanya and Pativrata Mahatmya Parva. It's an ancient story spoken in the epic Mahabharata in the Vana Parva. It tells about Savitri, a noble princess with intelligence and devotion, who overcomes a very important divine prophecy of foretelling her husband Satyavan's early death. So to make it, it's a long but short story. Savitri was born to King Ashwapati after he performed 18 years of penance to the goddess Savitri, who granted him a daughter instead of sons. Soon Savitri was born and grew into a beautiful and accomplished woman. Excuse me. When the time came for marriage, she chose Satyavan, who she saw and met in the forest, an exiled prince who lived in the forest with his blind father, Bhima. Despite the sage Narada's warning that Satyavan was fated to die within 1 year. Life enforced an approaching destiny. Soon after hearing about Narada's warning, her father's pleas, she was firm on her decision and still chose to marry Satyavan. So she married him and lived in the forest, devotedly serving him and his parents. As the day of Satyavan's foretold death approached, Savitri observed a vow of fasting and stood day and night, comforting Yama. On that fateful day, Savitri accompanied Satyavan into the forest, where he collapsed and died. Yama, the god of death, he appeared to claim Satyavan's soul, which he took with his noose and began to walk towards the heavens. Savitri's and Yama's distress seeing this, Savitri followed Yama and pleaded for her husband's life, engaging him into a philosophical discussion about dharma, compassion, and the merits of the virtues. Inspired by her wisdom and unwavering devotion, Yama granted her several boons, excluding the restoration of Satyavan's life initially. First, she asked for the restoration of her father-in-law Dhumatsena's sight and strength, which Yama granted. Next, she asked for Dhumatsena's lost kingdom to be returned, which he also has granted. Finally, Savitri asked for 100 sons by Satyavan. Yama, realizing that this boon can only be fulfilled if Satyavan was alive, so it was built to restore to his life. And with that, finally, return and fulfill a boon. After granting boons to Savitri, she returned to the forest with Satyavan, who regained consciousness. Bhima had already regained his sight and was searching for his son. Soon after, messengers announced Bhimasena's usurper had been slain, and the family returned to the kingdom. In time, Savitri and Satyavan were blessed with 100 sons. So what were at least the good points or the good deeds in the story, and what did we learn from it? Savitri's most significant virtue is her selfless love and unwavering dedication to her husband. Despite a prophecy foretelling from Narada, the warning, his early death, she still chose to marry him against her father's wishes, knowing the short lifespan predicted by the sage Narada. And second point was observance of austerities. Before the day of Satyavan's predicted demise, Savitri observes a vow of severe fasting and penance, which I mentioned in the short story I was summarizing, standing day and night, demonstrating her dedication and resolve. Third was intelligent and eloquence. When Yama, the god of death, arrives to claim Satyavan's soul, Savitri follows him and engages him in a series of logical and rightfulness arguments known as homilies. Her wisdom and persistence impresses Yama, and the last is selflessness in seeking boons. As Savitri has asked for 3 boons, as I have mentioned, excluding Satyavan's life, which was all 3 restoration of her father's sight and her kingdom, followed by 100 sons of her own by her and Satyavan. This demonstrates her prioritizing the welfare of her family over her immediate personal grief. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
Great job talking about Savitri's virtues and her austerity and her Bhattavritya, which saved Satyavan's life. Next is Sritan. No, we did Sritan, yes. And after Sritan is Pavya.
I did mine on the game of dice. So I talked about Duryodhana, Shakuni, Yudhishthira, Draupadi, Arjuna, Dhritarashtra, and Bhishma. Starting with Duryodhana, he engaged in ardharma because he held jealousy, disrespect, and dishonor towards his cousins, and he conspired to take the Yudhishthira's kingdom through a deceitful game. He also publicly humiliated Draupadi, asking her to be disrobed during the court session. And a life lesson from this is that envy and ego destroy reason in relationships, and they lead to destruction. And then there was Shakuni, who was the mastermind of the dice game. So he used rigged dice in the game and manipulated others for revenge and personal gain. And the life lesson from this is that manipulation and trickery result in temporary gains, but come at a great moral cost. Even with intelligence and skills, righteousness is dangerous when misused. And then for Yudhishthira, he initially played the game to appease hospitality, but his weakness towards games of chance and gambling resulted in him staking his kingdom as brothers in Draupadi. And the life lesson is righteousness without wisdom is destructive. Being morally blinded can cause more harm when reason is ignored. And then for Draupadi, she engaged in dharma because she questioned Yudhishthira's actions even when he was playing the game, both during it and then after. And then she upheld her dignity and challenged the court on the wrongdoings happening within it. So the life lesson would be one must stand up for truth and dignity in the face of injusticeness and overwhelming power. And then for Arjuna, He was a great warrior. He was obedient towards elder brothers. He could have beat the Kaurava kingdom very quickly by himself, but he was very obedient. But he had faith in God and did penance to receive help from Krishna. And the life lesson sustained by those close to you, silence in the face of injustice can also be seen as complicity. And then for Dhritarashtra, he failed to protect his the people closest to him. He had too much affection, and his greediness resulted in him encouraging his kids to proceed in the games. So blind love and attachment can blind one to duty and justice. And then finally for Bhishma, he was the oldest of them all, but he failed to protect them, and instead chose to protect the king, who was an evil person. And the life lesson was duty without moral righteousness leads to destruction, especially in a situation where his blind loyalty enabled evil to continue. And then as a summary, do not play games of gambling and do not proceed further into them once started. Surround yourself with good people who follow dharma, and always remember God in good and bad times, as well as do not be greedy and jealous, and respect elders.
Two major corrections, Chetan. First is Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira does not make any mistakes in the game of dice. We talked about this extensively in the class. And Yudhishthira follows dharma throughout the game, and it is his dharma to continue playing. And same thing with Bhishma as well. He follows his dharma. So both of those corrections. Yeah. Next is Pavya. And after Pavya is Pranati. Pavya. Okay, Pranati, go ahead. After Pranati is Charvi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Huh? Shivaya Gurve Namaha. My name is Pranati, and today I'm going to be presenting the topic Abhimanyu. So, who is Abhimanyu? One second, wait. Yeah. Who is Abhimanyu? Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna, who is one of the 5 Pandavas, and Subhadra, who is the sister of Lord Krishna. He is married to Uttara, the daughter of King Virata. Abhimanyu had received vigorous training in archery warfare from his father Arjuna and his uncles Balrama and Krishna. Early life. Abhimanyu was born and raised in Dwaraka, where his mother Subhadra sought refuge with her family during the Pandavas' exile. He received rigorous training in arms and warfare from his uncles Balrama, Krishna, and his cousin Pradyumna. His abilities. Abhimanyu he mastered the art of chariot warfare and displayed incredible strength and agility. He was known for his courage, tactical brilliance, and ability to counteract any enemy weapons. His marriage. After the Pandavas completed their exile, Abhimanyu married Uttara, the daughter of King Virata, following a request from the king. King Virata had initially asked Arjuna to marry Uttara. Arjuna, who was Uttara's dance teacher during their exile, initially declined the proposal, seeing her as his daughter, and thus arranged the marriage with Abhimanyu. His death. During the Kurukshetra war, Abhimanyu famously entered the complex Chakravyuha formation, a military tactic that was nearly impossible to penetrate or escape. The death of Abhimanyu is one of the greatest sins of Dhritarashtra, which is mentioned repeatedly by Krishna both during the time of Karna and Duryodhana's death. The Kauravas, led by Dronacharya, formed the Chakravyuha, a battle formation that was difficult to penetrate. Abhimanyu, knowing how to enter the Chakravyuha but not how to exit, volunteered to attack it. Once inside, the Pandava warriors were unable to follow him due to Jayadratha blocking their way, as Jayadratha had received a boon from Lord Shiva to be able to stop all the Pandavas except for Arjuna. Abhimanyu was then surrounded by the Kaurava warriors. Killed. He was then disarmed and killed by Karna. He was killed by unfair means, who all were involved in Abhimanyu's death. Dronacharya was the Kaurava king who had orchestrated the attack. Dushasana was Dronacharya's brother who had also participated in the assault. Dronacharya, Dronacharya, the Kaurava guru who designed the Chakravyuha formation, Kripacharya, another respected elder and warrior in the Kaurava army, Karna, a skilled warrior known for his archery and fighting skills, he had delivered the final blow. Shakuni Duryodhana's maternal uncle, known for his cunning and manipulative strategies. Ashwadhama, Dronacharya's son, also a powerful warrior. Kritavarma, he destroyed Abhimanyu's chariot. Dushasana's son, Durmasena. The aftermath. Abhimanyu's death was a major turning point in the war, causing great grief for the Pandavas, particularly Arjuna. His death is remembered as a tragic event in the Mahabharata. Arjuna's vow. When Arjuna learned that Jayadratha was the one who had stopped his brothers from entering the Vyuha, he vowed that he would kill him the next day, otherwise he would commit suicide. Why Abhimanyu died. To console the Pandavas, Maharshi Vyasa tells them the reason why Abhimanyu died. Abhimanyu was actually Varchas, the son of Lord Chandra. Varchas wanted to go to Earth, hence Chandra told him that he can stay on Earth only for 16 years. Thank you.
Great job, Kunti. Talking about the death of Abhimanyu and its aftermaths. Next is Charvi, and after Charvi is Pratnya, and after Pratnya, Vaishnavi.
Hi, my name is Charvi. Today I'm going to be talking about Arjuna's and Karna's duel and the fall of Karna. Overview. The whole incident is really important as both Arjuna and Karna never really liked each other, and Karna promises to Kunti that he would not kill the Pandavas except Arjuna. That's a proof of his hate for Arjuna in general. The battle was so anticipated, everybody stopped the rest of the battle, and even the Devata Rakshasas and everybody watched both Arjuna and Karna, and only both of them fight. Ashwasena's attempt to kill Arjuna. The battle had started, everybody was watching both fight fiercely, but when Arjuna was about to shoot an arrow, a snake climbed up onto it quickly that not even Karna knew. Krishna saw the arrow and lowered the chariot so the arrow would not hurt Arjuna, but instead knocked the crown off his head. Ashwasena is the snake who climbed onto Karna's arrow in an attempt to kill Arjuna. The reason for his hate is because when Arjuna helped Agni burn down the forest, Ashwasena's mother was killed as he managed to escape. Since then, he had always wanted to get his revenge on Arjuna. When Ashwasena realized it was a failed attempt, he went back to Karna to ask to release another arrow. Karna refused, so he went to kill Arjuna on his own. But when he went near his chariot, Arjuna killed him on Krishna's order. Karna's curse. After a while of fighting, Karna's chariot started being sucked into the air. This is because of a curse. A while ago, Karna had killed a Brahmin's cow. The Brahmin gave him a curse, and this is an effect of it. So Karna realizes this and gets down to pull it up, but it won't budge. So he had no choice but to fight while he was trying to get the chariot out. Karna's sudden interest in Dharma. As Karna and Arjuna were fighting, with Karna on the ground as a disadvantage of his chariot on the ground, in a hope of getting a chance to defeat Arjuna, Karna asks Arjuna if it's dharmic for someone on the ground fighting someone on a chariot. Krishna's reaction to Karna. When Karna asks Arjuna about the dharma of the situation, Krishna intervenes. He starts talking about the entire Mahabharata and how Karna did not think of dharma then, like in Draupadi's unrobing and Abhimanyu's death, when he actually broke this rule of law there too. This shows us that bad people or people who never usually follow dharma only think of it if it's good for them or it benefits them. As Karna hears this, he shamefully agrees to all of it. As both fought hard with Karna being hopeless, Arjuna gets out his Anjalika arrow and makes a vow to it. He says if he had followed dharma his entire life, that this arrow would kill Arjuna. As soon as the arrow was shot, the fall of Karna was declared. Effect of his death. As of Karna's death, everybody in the Kaurava army was deeply saddened as he was Duryodhana's last hope in the defeat of the Pandavas. But as of his death, all hope was lost. But in the Pandava army, everybody was celebrating and congratulating Arjuna of the victory. The death of Karna itself was a good thing, as he had never followed dharma, always enjoyed the suffer of the Pandavas, and overall a bad person. Thank you.
Great job, Chavi. Next is Prajna, and after Prajna is Vaishnavi.
Shivaya Gurave Namaha. My name is Pragna, and today I will be talking about Arjuna and Krishna and their relationship. Arjuna and Krishna's relationship. Arjuna and Krishna symbolize Nara and Narayana because Arjuna was incarnated as Nara while Krishna was incarnated as Narayana. Arjuna always treated Krishna as his guru and always listened to him, and he also had complete trust in Krishna. There's a story that symbolizes Arjuna's affection for Krishna. Before the Kurukshetra war, both Arjuna and Duryodhana came to Krishna while he was sleeping. There were two seats, one near Krishna's feet and another near his head. Duryodhana sat near his head while Arjuna stood in front of his feet. Krishna woke up, and since he saw Arjuna first, he greeted Arjuna first, and then he greeted Duryodhana. He gave both of them an option of either Narayana himself, but he won't fight, or the Narayani Sena, or the whole army. Since youngers get to choose first, Krishna let Arjuna choose first, and without a thought, he chose Krishna. Duryodhana thought that Arjuna would choose the Narayani Sena, but he was pleased and he chose the Narayani Sena. Krishna explains the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. When the Kurukshetra war began, Arjuna was upset and scared and did not want to participate in the war because he did not want to harm or kill his loved ones on the opposing side. Krishna gave him courage and told him that it was his dharma to fight in the war, and he explained the Bhagavad Gita to him. Arjuna, with his love for Krishna, finally agreed and fought in the Kurukshetra war. The killing of Jayadratha. After Arjuna realized that Jayadratha was one of the people who helped kill his son Abhimanyu, he got really mad and made a vow that he will kill Jayadratha the next day before sunset. Jayadratha becomes very scared, and the next day, the whole Kaurava army, aware of Arjuna's vow, protected him with a difficult vyuha, making it almost impossible for Arjuna to kill Jayadratha before sunset. It was almost sunset, and Krishna saw this, and so he used his divine power to make it look like the sun was setting, but in reality, it was not. The Kaurava army started lowering their guard, and Jayadratha emerged from the Vyuha, believing in Krishna's Maya. After he emerged, Arjuna killed Jayadratha with an arrow. We can see how Arjuna and Krishna have a good relationship and help each other out. Comparing relationships. In Karna Parva, Shalya was Karna's charioteer, while Krishna was Arjuna's charioteer. There was tension between Shalya and Karna because Shalya was reluctant to be Karna's charioteer. He only agreed because Duryodhana told him to be Karna's charioteer. Also, Shalya was annoyed when Karna kept on boasting and saying that he could easily kill Arjuna. They were not a good team, and there was a lot of anger and tension between them. Krishna and Arjuna were a great team on the other hand, because they listened to each other, and Arjuna had complete trust in Krishna and followed what he said, causing the death of Karna. How Krishna helped Arjuna kill Karna. During Arjuna and Karna's duel, a snake named Ashwasena entered Karna's arrow, and without knowing this, Karna shoots the arrow. But Krishna notices this and quickly pulls the chariot down, and the arrow hits Arjuna's crown instead and knocks it off. Ashwasena is enraged and asks Karna to shoot the arrow again, but Karna declines, so Ashwasena goes in its snake form to kill Arjuna, but Krishna quickly tells Arjuna to kill the snake. After a bit of fighting, Karna's charioteer starts going into the ground, and he realizes that this is because of a curse that a Brahmana gave him. He accidentally killed the Brahmana's cow, so he said that his chariot would go down in war. He tells Arjuna what he is doing is wrong, that it is adharma to fight someone who does not have a chariot and who's on the ground, and Krishna intervenes and points out all of the adharma that Karna and Duryodhana did, starting from Duryodhana poisoning Bhima. Krishna told Arjuna to kill Karna with the Anjalika, and Arjuna does so, killing Karna. Thank you.
Great job, Pragya, talking about the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna and how that helps Arjuna out throughout Mahabharata. Our final presentation for today is from Vaishnavi.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Namaste to everyone. My name is Vaishnavi, and today we'll be talking about Sri Krishna. Who is Krishna? Krishna is the 8th avatara of Vishnu. He was born to Vasudeva and Devaki in Madhura, but was brought up by Yashoda and Nanda in Vrindavan. Krishna is a key figure in the Mahabharata and an embodiment of dharma. Krishna protecting Draupadi and the Pandavas. Draupadi's disrobing. In the game of dice, after Yudhishthira has lost everything, including himself, he puts Draupadi at stake and also loses Draupadi. Dushasana drags Draupadi into the court of Hastinapura and starts trying to disrobe her. Despite Draupadi facing grave humiliation, no one present actively tries to help her, so Draupadi prays to Krishna and surrenders to him. Krishna immediately helps Draupadi by making her sari limitless, so that Dushasana is not able to disrobe her. From this event, we can learn how Krishna protects those who surrender to him. Maharshi Durvasa. During Aranyakanda, Maharshi Durvasa and 10,000 of his disciples visit Draupadi and the Pandavas. However, Draupadi has no food to feed them because she already ate, and hence the Akshaya Patra is empty for the rest of the day. Draupadi prays to Krishna and he comes there, asking for something to eat. But Draupadi says she has nothing to give him. Krishna asks to see the Akshaya Patra and finds a single grain of rice inside, which he eats. As Krishna eats this grain of rice, Maharshi Durvasa and all his disciples who were bathing in the river become very full and leave without returning to the Pandavas. Through this event, Krishna demonstrates that even a small offering given with devotion is enough to satisfy the Lord. Arjuna's chariot. After the Mahabharata war, Krishna tells Arjuna to gather all his weapons and get down from his chariot. Krishna removes his foot from the chariot and it immediately bursts into flames. When everyone is shocked by this event, Krishna explains that all the powerful astras sent by warriors like Bhishma and Drona should have burnt the chariot by now, but it was staying intact because Krishna was protecting it. By this act, Krishna shows that Ishvara always protects devotees once they've asked for his protection, even if the devotees don't remember that they asked. Krishna as a mentor and friend. Mayasabha. After Krishna and Arjuna burn the Khandava forest to help Agnideva, Maya Asura wants to express his gratitude for Krishna and Arjuna sparing his life when burning the forest. Krishna tells him to build the Maya Sabha for the Pandavas in Indraprastha, since he is a skilled architect. This shows Krishna's guidance as a friend to the Pandavas. Arjuna. Krishna acts as a mentor to Arjuna by telling him to acquire various divyastras. During Aranyakanda, Krishna tells Arjuna to do tapas to Lord Shiva to acquire the Pasupatastra. Then, on the 14th day of the Mahabharata war, Krishna advises Arjuna to learn the Pasupatastra from Lord Shiva for a second time. Even though Arjuna doesn't use the Pasupatastra, the mantra of the astra gives Arjuna divine energy, which shows how Krishna guides him. Krishna revealing himself as Vishnu. Jayabhara. Before the Mahabharata war, Krishna went as a messenger for the Pandavas to the court of Hastinapura as a last attempt at asking for peace. Krishna says that it is dharma to give the Pandavas back the kingdom they lost, since they completed their 13 years of exile. Krishna even offers for only 5 villages to be given to the Pandavas instead of their full kingdom. In the court, Krishna reveals his Virat Rupa, but despite all of Krishna's attempts, Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra refuse to give the Pandavas anything. Krishna going as a messenger shows the dharma that the Pandavas and Krishnas follow, trying every last attempt before resorting to war or violence. Bhagavad Gita. Before the Mahabharata war starts, Arjuna becomes very despondent and doesn't want to fight against all his family and relatives. Krishna then reminds Arjuna of his Kshatriya dharma to fight. Krishna reveals his Vishvarupa to Arjuna and says the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is a treasure house of knowledge and teaches us valuable lessons about dharma, satya, karma, and bhakti. Through the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reinvigorates Arjuna to fulfill his dharma and fight so that adharma can be destroyed. Krishna and Dharma. Kaurava deaths. The deaths of some particular people on the Kaurava side, such as Bhishma, Drona, Jayadrata, Karna, and Duryodhana, often cause people to wrongly think that Krishna and the Pandavas committed adharma. However, Krishna explains that the deaths of these people had to be done using means that looked like adharma, but since they protected righteousness, were actually subtle dharma or dharma sukshma. Krishna also says that asatya told for the greater welfare of people becomes satya, and that these 5 people wouldn't have been killed without using dharma sukshma. Krishna breaking his vow. On the 9th day of the war, Bhishma makes a vow that he will either kill Arjuna or force Krishna to pick up a weapon. When Bhishma is ferociously attacking Arjuna with arrows, Krishna gets angry and grabs a chariot wheel and starts running towards Bhishma. Seeing Krishna coming towards him, Bhishma falls at Krishna's feet and surrenders. By picking up the chariot wheel, Krishna breaks his vow of not picking up weapons in the war. However, Krishna's vow to protect his devotees, Arjuna, and fulfill his devotees' vows, Bhishma, was more important to him than his own vow in this case. This shows the grace and protection of the Lord. Thank you to Samedha Akka Gurugara and Dhruva Jnanam team for this opportunity.
Great job talking about Krishna throughout Mahabharata Vaishnavi. Is there anybody left who did not present? Okay, so that's it then. Wonderful job, all of you did an excellent job presenting your topics in Mahabharata. And with this, we conclude our 6-week course about the Mahabharata. As you all know, this course was predominantly based on Sri Guru Garu's 18-day pravachana, along with some aspects taken from Mahabharatanlo Sivanipatra pravachana and Mahabharatanlo Upakhyanalo pravachanams and some other supplementary pravachanas. And it is our great fortune that this December, Sri Guru Garu will actually be doing a pravachanam about Mahabharata again, this time for 60 days. And I highly encourage all of you to listen to that pravachana as well, so that we can continue our learning of the Mahabharata. Now I request Sri Sarmagaru to give concluding remarks.
శివాయ గురువే నమః. చాలా బాగా అందరూ ప్రెజెంటేషన్స్ అవి చేశారు, ఎక్కడ తడుముకోకుండా చక్కగా అన్ని చేశారు. ఎలా అర్థం చేసుకున్నారో ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైంది మహాభారతాన్ని. మహాభారతం 1,00,000 శ్లోకాలు, 1,00,000 శ్లోకాల గ్రంథం. సో అది జీవితాంతం చదువుకోవలసినది. వ్యాసుడే చెప్పాడు, వేదాలన్నిటి సారం భారతం, అందులో లేనిదంటూ లేదని. కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఒక ట్రయల్గా 6 వారాలు నేర్చుకున్నారు. ఇందులో ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయో మీకు ఆల్రెడీ తెలిసింది. విదురనీతి, యక్ష ప్రశ్నలు, ఇలా చాలా చాలా భగవద్గీత కూడా ఇందులో లేనిదంటూ ఎక్కడ ఏమీ లేదు అనేది మీరు తెలుసుకున్నారు. కాబట్టి ఇది లైఫ్ టైం చదవాల్సిన పుస్తకం. కాబట్టి మీరు ఇప్పుడు చదువుకుంటూ ఉంటే మీకు లైఫ్లో ఎప్పుడు ఏ సమస్య వచ్చినా, ఎటువంటి సిచ్యువేషన్స్లోనైనా ఏదో ఒకటి భారతంలో ఒక ఈవెంటో శ్లోకమో ఏదో ఒకటి మీకు గుర్తొచ్చి కర్తవ్యాన్ని నిర్దేశించగలదు, అందులో సందేహం లేదు. ఇలాగా భారతం మీ జీవితాన్ని నడుపుతుంది అనడంలో సందేహం లేదు. ఏ వయసులో ఉన్నప్పుడైనా, టీనేజర్స్ చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి పండు ముదుసులు అయ్యే వరకు కూడా భారతం వివిధ కోణాల్లో చాలా నేర్పిస్తుంది. అంత విశిష్టమైన విశాలమైన గ్రంథం అది. అందులో మీరు చాలా ఏవేవి నేర్చుకోవాలన్నీ చక్కగా నేర్చుకున్నారు. అందులో పాత్రలు అన్నీ మీరు ఆల్మోస్ట్ కవర్ చేశారు. ముఖ్యంగా సావిత్రి, నలదమయంతులు, ఇవి ఉపాఖ్యానాలు అంటారు. అందులో ఉండి ఉపాఖ్యానాలు కూడా నేర్చుకున్నవన్నీ చెప్పారు. 6 వారాల్లో మ్యాక్సిమం చాలా నేర్చుకున్నారని తెలిసింది. కానీ ఏదో ప్రజెంటేషన్ ఇచ్చేమో అని ఇక్కడితో వదిలేయకుండా భారతంతో ఎప్పుడు టచ్లో ఉండండి అని మాత్రం చెప్తున్నాను. ఇందాక చిరంజీవి సుమేధ చెప్పినట్టుగా త్వరలో 60 రోజులు మహాభారతం చెప్పబోతున్నారు గురువు గారు. అది కూడా లైవ్ ఉంటుంది ఎలాగో. కాబట్టి అది కూడా మీరందరూ చూసి మరిన్ని విషయాలు తెలుసుకునే విధంగా చేద్దాం. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇచ్చిన ప్రజెంటేషన్స్ ధృవజ్ఞానంతో పాటు ఋషిపీఠం ఆర్గనైజేషన్ కూడా గుర్తుపెట్టుకునేలాగా వీటన్నిటికీ ప్రాపర్ ప్లేస్ ఇస్తుంది. ఎక్కడ పెడితే బాగుంటుంది అనేది మన ఋషిపీఠం వెబ్సైట్లోనూ ఎక్కడో పెట్టి అందరూ చూసే విధంగా, ఇంటర్నేషనల్గా అందరూ చూసే విధంగా దీన్ని ప్రజెంట్ చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. అంత గొప్పగా ఉన్నాయి. దానికి తగిన సహకారం చేసే టెక్నికల్ టీము మన ధృవజ్ఞానంలోనే ఉన్నారు, ఋషిపీఠంలోనే ఉన్నారు. కాబట్టి ఇవన్నీ అందరికీ చేరేలాగా ఇప్పుడు చూసే వాళ్ళే కాకుండా పర్మనెంట్గా అందరూ చూసేలాగా ఏర్పాటు చేస్తానని ఋషిపీఠం తరపున నేను చెప్తున్నాను. గురువు గారు కూడా అన్ని చూసేలాగా నేను ఏర్పాటు చేస్తాను. చాలా బాగా సుమేధకి చాలా కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్, చాలా బాగా చేసావు. ఇలాగే ఇంకా చాలా చాలా చెయ్యాలి. దీనికి సహకరించిన పిల్లలు, వారి తల్లిదండ్రులందరికీ చాలా చాలా అభినందనలు. ఒక విధంగా చెప్పాలంటే కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేసుకుంటున్నాను. అంటే వాళ్ళు కూడా ఒక విధంగా గురు రుణం, ఋషి రుణం తీర్చుకోవడంలో చాలా ముందుంటున్నారు. చాలా సంతోషం. జగద్గురువైన శ్రీకృష్ణ పరమాత్మ కృప అందరికి లభించాలని కోరుకుంటూ శివాయ గురువైన.
ధన్యవాదాలు శంకర్. నా తరఫు నుంచి ఋషిపీఠానికి సమగాకి నాకు అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు, మహాభారతం చెప్పగలిగే అదృష్టం ఇచ్చినందుకు ధన్యవాదాలు. అండ్ ఈ 6 వారాలుగా నాకు అటెండెన్స్లో వాటిల్లో హెల్ప్ చేసినందుకు పద్మినియతకి చాలా చాలా థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ మేకింగ్ ష్యూర్ దట్ స్టూడెంట్స్ అందరూ వచ్చారా లేదా, కెమెరాస్ ఆన్ ఉన్నాయా లేదా, అవన్నీ చూసుకుందుకు చాలా థ్యాంక్స్ పద్మినియత. అండ్ ఇవాళ ఈ 2 hours మనకి టెక్నికల్ హెల్ప్ ఇచ్చిన హరిమోయకు కూడా చాలా థ్యాంక్స్. అండ్ శర్మ గారు చెప్పినట్టు థ్యాంక్స్ టు ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ. ఎవ్రీ సింగిల్ డే మార్నింగ్, ఐ నో ఇండియాలో వాళ్ళకి ఈవినింగ్, ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళకి మార్నింగ్, కొంతమంది ఈస్ట్ కోస్ట్లో వాళ్ళైతే ఈవెన్ 6 AM కూడా లేచి, you guys came every single day and that is very impressive. So thanks to all of you for being cooperating, and I had a wonderful time teaching all of you for these past 6 weeks. And those of you in Dhruva Jnanam, I hope that you have a wonderful year starting in August. And for everybody else as well, I encourage you all to join Dhruva Jnanam. We learn many more things very similar to this. So I hope to see all of you there. ధన్యవాదాలు.
ఇంకొక విషయం, ఇప్పుడు అందరూ ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి చెప్తున్నాను. ఇప్పుడు నేర్చుకున్న వాళ్ళందరూ మీ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ ఎలా ఉండేది అనేది ఒక 2-3 sentencesలో రాసి పంపించండి అమ్మా. కుదిరితే మీ సిగ్నేచర్ కూడా చేసి మీ పేరు రాసి అదొక స్క్రీన్ లాగా చేసి పంపించండి. అంటే ఐ మీన్ ఒక ఇమేజ్ లాగా మీ దగ్గర కుదిరితే మీ హ్యాండ్ రైటింగ్తో రాసి కింద మీ పేరు సిగ్నేచర్ రాసి ఈ కోర్సు మీరు ఎలా ఫీల్ అయ్యారు అనేది పంపించండి ఒక ఇమేజ్ లాగా పార్టిసిపేట్ చేసిన వాళ్ళందరూ. అది మనం ప్రాపర్ ప్లేస్లో పంపించాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.